This box contains the Dudu7 360 camera system. This is going to tie into that head unit that I just finished installing on my car. It's got 4 cameras in it, 1 for the front, back, and 2 for each side. And what's going to happen is, in theory, once I get these all installed, pointed in the right direction, and calibrated, it's going to stitch all those together and give me a nice 360-degree view of what's going on around my car. So today, we're going to open this up, see what's inside it, and we'll probably install the rear camera. So just the rear camera. We're going to split this up because there's a lot of work involved. So today we're just going to see what's in the box and install the camera that's going to go on the rear of my car so I can at least start using it as a backup camera. This here is the official Dudu7 360 camera system. You can also use some other brand cameras. There's a Sony one that I think a lot of people use. For all I know, it's probably the same internals as this one. Either way, let's see what we got in here. First off, come in a fancy bag. That's how you know it's a quality product. High-class packaging. All right, there we go. So right here, we have our hole saw. This is a, looks like 23 millimeters. Anyway, this is a hole saw that is sized appropriately for, we're going to see it here. I think it might fit all of the, I think in particular it's going to be for the side mirror cameras. So it's nice because I don't have that exact size hole saw, and I probably would have tried to fumble my way through without it, which would have been a lot messier. All right, so what do we have? This actually looks a lot more straightforward than the cables I got with the Dudu7 head unit itself. So this, are you connected? Yes. Okay, so these 4 are, these are going to be the extension cables to connect to the cameras, because these cameras are going to be scattered, throughout the car. Basically, the way these 360 cameras work is you have a front camera, a rear camera, and a left camera and a right camera. And so naturally, we're going to need to be able to run cables pretty far distances to each of them. This right here is the adapter that's going to connect it to the head unit itself. And these are actually helpfully labeled and color-coded, so that's actually pretty nice. I will say I've been really happy with the Dudu7 labeling. The documentation has a bit of an incompleteness and language barrier problem, but they do a good job of labeling things. So black is for my front camera, red is for left, blue is for right. I guess that makes sense. If I'm not mistaken, we'll double check, but I believe these are going to be for connecting to turn signal indicators, which we might not need because I think my canvas might cover that, but we'll see. And yellow here would be rear, and this is likely the signaling cable for when you go into reverse, which again, I'm almost positive we're not going to need that one because that signal already comes through canvas. Okay, so that's our cabling. Other than that, what do we have? I think the rest is just going to be cameras. Okay, these, okay, I'll be honest, I don't know what this is. Oh, I think these just might be some extension cables. Yeah, these are just a couple of extension cables in case you need, I assume, not sure what they look like. Extension cables in case you just need another couple feet on one of these. And then we have our 4 cameras. I'm going to unwrap those here. So there's 2 types of cameras that we're getting here. And I don't know if they're, oh yeah, in fact, these are Sony. Okay, yes. So I suspect the Sony branded ones I've seen are probably the exact same cameras. Yes, they say Sony on the side there. Okay, so these 2 cameras here, I'm fairly certain these sort of rounded ones are, these are going to go on the side mirrors. And so they're going to kind of mount on the side mirrors facing out, and they have kind of a fisheye lens to cover the sides of your car. And I don't think left or right matters on those. I'm pretty sure they're identical. Likewise, these are the front and rear cameras, which I believe are also identical. There's no labeling on them. Yeah, I think they're identical cameras. Oh, these little pieces of rubber are just little grommets for kind of sealing in the side cameras when they're installed. Actually, they already have some on. Oh yeah, so that's those. Actually, oh, you know what those are? They already have some. I think these are maybe just replacements with kind of a sharper slope, sharper angle on them. Which is one thing I'm still not clear about is the proper angling on these. Got those. And then lastly, we have this. And these are mounting brackets for the front and rear cameras. And I don't actually know which is intended to be used where, or if it matters. I've got a bunch of little pieces here. So I actually can't find any written documentation for installing these or what comes in the kit, but I'm going off of the YouTube installation video on the official Dudu7 YouTube channel. And based off that, so these little brackets here just screw into the back of the camera. So there's some mounting holes here that hold these things at a bit of an angle, which you use for your front and rear camera because you don't want those things pointing straight out or straight down. You kind of want them pointed at a 45-degree angle towards the street. As far as where'd it go? This little box thing is, I find no reference to it anywhere. I'm guessing it's maybe just a little protective box to put around them for some reason. I don't know why I would decide to use this when I need it and why I only have one of them, but there we go. Other than this little box though, everything else in here seems fairly self-explanatory. And so I think the next step is to take this out and I guess drill some holes in my car. Okay, so I lied to you. The next step is not drilling holes in the car. The next step is, before we go to all the effort to drill some holes and run cables all over the place, let's actually plug this thing in and make sure it works. So this right here is the main wiring harness that is going to plug into the head unit and give me all these cables. I think initially I'm just going to plug this into the unit and just run these cables outside, and we're going to, before we start putting things behind trim and putting a lot of effort into this, we're just going to plug things in, maybe run things around and see how things look. Make sure cords reach and things like that. I don't know if it's a bad idea to live hot swap these things, but we are. Okay, so I'm realizing something here. When I first set this up, it asked me if I had a 360 camera, and I said no, because I didn't have it hooked up at the time. And I recall at the time saying, boy, I hope I don't have to factory reset this thing to tell it that I have a 360 camera. I don't see any way to tell it I have a 360 camera now, so I think I have to factory reset the thing to tell it I have a 360 camera. We're going to try that. I don't have a lot invested in here yet anyway. Assuming there's a way to factory. Oh, here, reset and wipe data. Okay. We are back at initial setup. All right, the screen's at a weird angle because I have just all the cables dangling out here, but should be fine for now. All right, so we're back in initial setup, English. I did this, disaster! Disaster has befallen me. Okay, we're good, I think. Yeah. Okay, Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna grab a screw and just stick it in there to kind of keep it from sliding out. Yeah, we're not gonna attach this because I'm gonna be pulling it out, but we're just gonna at least set a screw in here so that it won't slide forward. So there you go. That is my officially jury-rigged screen. Seems stable enough for some experimentation. Okay, anyway. By the way, I still haven't connected the GPS and 4G antennas to this unit just because the cables in back are a little tight, but we can deal with that later. I'm not really using them. I did appreciate, though, that they had all these instructions suggesting where to put things. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I reset things, but it does remember my canvas settings. So yes, I have in fact purchased the 360 camera. Look at that. Okay, so actually I'm going to do this right now as well anyway, because I did see a place in the settings to say I bought these, but I do actually have, shoot, I think the AR recorder. Actually, I don't know which of these I bought. I don't remember now. Okay, well maybe we'll have to reset things again. And, I think I have the AR recorder. Hopefully it'll let me skip it for now. Okay, this tutorial takes you, or this QR code doesn't really take you exactly tutorials. It takes you to their wiki, which is, I'm not going to complain about having some documentation, but it's definitely very sparse. Which it's funny, actually, on the wiki, they acknowledge that. There's a big message saying hey, we know this needs some work, sorry. Okay, we're going to reboot. I assume this is adding all the features that I just enabled. Okay, my ignition is not on, but I am in accessory mode, so hopefully my car doesn't power off, because that'd be bad. Probably. Okay, so we're back in it. Now, where do you think I go to get, let's go to setup. Vehicle, this is a reverse. Where do you think 3D. Oh wait, maybe I did. I don't think I looked here earlier. Yeah. There's somewhere where you can. Here we go. Okay, yeah. See, this is where I'll do like the accessories, like the recorder and stuff. Maybe it's a separate app. Ah, 360 panorama. Okay. Well, this is actually okay. Well, let's see this first. I mean, there's no cameras plugged in, so I don't see. Okay. Well, I have the app. I have no cameras plugged in, so obviously I'm not seeing anything. Let's turn the car on though. Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop here and plug in some cameras, and we'll see what happens. Okay. So I plugged in all the cameras, and the cameras are just sitting in my car with me right now. So it looks like chaos, but things seem at least to be functional. But let's kind of look at this piece by piece. Okay, so first off, it's showing me the front camera right now, which is this guy. So in fact, this is, okay, this is my front camera that you're seeing right now. Oh, I went to right. Hold on, let's go back to front. Yes, my front camera. No, which one's front? That's rear. Left. What is, oh, that's front. There you go. You can see me in the camera pointing at my own camera. So, okay. So yes, that's front camera. And actually what's super cool is if you look on this side of the screen, this is what's eventually going to be the 360, stitch thing. And you can actually see that as I shine this around, like, yeah, that's the kind of the front arc of it. And so what's going to happen is you put in all these cameras and then you go through this fairly involved calibration process to get them to stitch properly in theory. Okay, let's keep going, make sure they're all working. So this is my yellow one, which is rear, which you can see the rear down there going, and indeed, yes. Now what I want to see first is, actually while we got this up, let's just see what happens. If I go into reverse, does it take this as my backup camera? I'm running the 360 app, so I actually didn't even switch over. Okay, hold on though. Oh, is it just gonna bring this up when I go in reverse? Okay, hold on, let's try that. This may be taking over the regular back. Oh, it totally does. Okay, so I go into reverse, and it automatically went into this view. So that's actually good news, because one of the problems I was having with my original installation is the backup camera wasn't getting a great signal. So this is reassuring, because this absolutely means my assumption was correct, that by installing these cameras, I will no longer need my factory backup camera at all, I don't think. I think we're going to try that first, at least. We're going to try just replacing my factory backup camera with this one. Okay, so anyway, that camera's working, and it is being triggered properly. Next up, we have, which one is this? This is either left or right. I don't know, it looks like it's left, and that indeed works. Okay. Now this one, I don't know if I'll be able to safely test while I'm parked, but let's see. Okay. I believe there's supposed to be something that automatically triggers that based off your turn signals. But that might only be like if you're in drive. And now I'm in my driveway. In drive. Okay, so we're driving slowly forward. Okay. Okay. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. But again, I don't know if that's I don't have it set up right, or that might also be a signaling thing. I may have to do some wiring to make that work. Because I believe what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to, again, I don't know if sure if this is a feature, because this thing's not super well documented. But I know that there are some head units that you can set it up so that when you flick your left turn signal on, it'll switch to your left camera to kind of catch your blind spot for you. Either way, that doesn't seem to be happening right now, but I'm not too worried about it. And back to our camera tests, we have our right camera, which is right there, which is that. Cool. Things seem great. This mode, oh, this mode's kind of nice. Like, honestly, like even if it's not automatic, this would actually be a really good mode to have when I'm backing out of a parking spot, in some sense. Actually, ideally, would be like left, right, and then my backup camera, but I don't know if that's an option. Anyway, we'll figure out all these options later. Like they actually do have a lot of documentation on their website about this and about how to like set this thing up. So honestly, we're gonna worry about getting things set up first, and then we'll deal with things. By the way, this mode, this might make more sense once we have the cameras installed, but it seems like a flashy but useless feature to kind of look around with your car like this. But we'll see. Maybe it's more useful than I'm thinking. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop playing with this for now. This seems super cool, but most importantly, all my cameras are working, the wiring to the head unit's working. The most important feature, which is the triggering on reverse, to me, that's the most important feature, is working. Feeling great about all that. I think actually we're gonna do these one at a time then. We're gonna start, since it's the one I care about the most, we're gonna start with just hooking up this reverse camera. And we're gonna run that through and get all that working and see how that goes. before we start touching the side mirrors or the front, because the side mirrors are definitely going to require some drilling. So this is the existing camera, and I assume the cord runs behind the door here somewhere, behind this panel, and then through this little hose, which gets it to the main frame of the car. And then from there, it's kind of clear where it goes. It follows this little cable bundle up here along the ceiling that takes it all the way to the front, disappears behind this foam in the headliner somewhere. But the point is, I think I should be able to get a cord following this path all the way from that back door to somehow reach the head unit way up here. All right, well, let's start by just yanking this panel off. All right, that's off. Now this here, I believe, is just a vapor barrier. So I'm not going to peel the whole thing off, but yeah, I can reattach that as needed. So digging around here, I don't have access to where the camera is. It's way down here somewhere. So I think I'm going to need to take this black piece of trim off to get access to it. So we'll try that. Okay, so I finished topping it off, and there's not a lot of wires running into this. There's a couple of wires here for some lights that are for the license plate. And then this little harness right here, this is the camera. And so there's this little waterproof little nipple thing here that gets it in and out of the vehicle. So I think first up, we're just gonna remove this harness, remove that camera. I don't think I'll be able to reuse these wires, which would be super cool if I could. It's a different connection. I don't know if I trust myself to, you know, like wire my own ends to it. So most likely we're going to take that off, and then we're going to have to remove these wires and run some new wires through that little spot right there. Okay, so we've got two tasks on this door back here. First up, I'm just going to try slicing this tape off, and I'll probably have to do something to, you know, re-water tighten this, but I just need to get this little cable through there. I'm not going to try to take out the original harness in case I need to go back to it. So yeah, we're just going to try to slide this in next to it. Once I get it through here, getting through the rest of the car shouldn't be that difficult. And then second, so here's our new camera. And I'm going to actually disconnect this to make this easier. All right, I just removed this entirely. This will be a lot easier to work with like this. So over here, we need to attach the camera. Now, it actually is pretty darn close. Like it's the same, you know, basic shape. Which side is up? I believe that the direction is up. It just doesn't quite fit. These little ridges in here are just a little bit too deep. So honestly, I'm just gonna try to trim those down a little bit. I don't care if I think over trim. I can always, you know, put in some sort of epoxy or something. But yeah, it's actually pretty darn close to fitting as it is. So I just need a little bit more space to get this thing, you know, poking out properly. So once we do that, screwing this thing in and mounting it shouldn't be too difficult. Okay, so I was trying to figure out the right way to tear down those ridges inside this hole here so I can fit the camera in properly. And it's a little bit of a tight fit, so I don't have a lot of tools that'll fit. I have an abrasive tip for my Dremel that might work. I could try just squeezing a knife down there or something. I don't know. You know, it's not like I need a lot of force. Instead, we're going to try doing something stupid. And we are going to try to heat gun it, get that plastic super duper hot, and then just jam that camera in and see if it works. So yeah, let's do something dumb. Yeah, it did not require a lot of heat to make this plastic flow. We're gonna let this cool off a bit before I jam the camera in there. It's gonna suck if I get this backwards, but I think these things go down, so I'm pretty sure this way goes up. Oh God, I think that might do it. That actually works surprisingly well. This plastic flowed at a really low temperature. So yeah, I just kind of folded these pegs back a little bit. It's not as snug of a fit, so I'll probably want to put something in to kind of, you know, make it a little more solid. Or honestly, when I screw it, actually I don't even know if I'll screw it. I really think I might just find some glue of some kind to put around it to just hold it in place. But when we look at the flip side, that looks pretty darn good. So this is going to create more work for myself later because I'm going to have to pop this panel off, but I don't think I'm going to completely solidify it yet as far as like wrapping it with glue and all that, just because I'm a little worried I have the direction wrong. Oh, actually, there's a little arrow here. That arrow probably means that direction is up, right? So I'm going to do that. Okay, we're going to, before we mount all this hard, we're going to plug it in and make sure that works. Because it would suck to like epoxy this thing in or something and then have it upside down. There might be a software to fix that, but I would rather not have to worry about that. But yeah, I think my stupid solution worked pretty well. We're in a pretty good position there. So yeah, when all is said and done, I'll pull this apart and put something in more solid here. But for now, we're just going to tear off a little piece of Gorilla Tape. And honestly, that'll probably hold it. And I say I'll come back and do the right thing later, but on my pickup, I had a panel that was held on by Gorilla Tape for about 4 years before I traded it in. So this may end up being a less temporary solution than it probably should be. But it'll certainly hold well enough for me to get everything together, actually try it all out and make sure I have everything wired up right and everything facing the right direction. So there we go. This is my style of how you put a car back together. Use a heat gun to melt it and then Gorilla Tape to get it back together. All right, yeah, that ain't going anywhere. All right, so I spent some time poking around with this little rubber thing, and I don't see any kind of graceful way to get it open, so it appears to just be wrapped in, I think, just electrical tape. So we're just gonna try to get this electrical tape off. Okay, so I got this unwrapped, and I was kind of hoping that this would be something I could then like squeeze that new cord through, but this is pretty tight. So my guess is this is some sort of heat shrink thing maybe, and they, you know, slide these big bulky things through and then tighten it around it, which is a great idea for, you know, keeping water out, but it's hard to add something. So I think I'm just going to cut a slit through here, slide something through, and then for now, again, I'm just going to wrap this with something and maybe come back later and see if I can actually replace this entirely once I'm sure I like the wiring. But for now, Gorilla Tape. Now, before you go thinking that I use Gorilla Tape to solve all my problems, you're wrong. Sometimes I use electrical tape. Oh yeah, that ain't going anywhere. Okay, so now we can reattach the panel here, reconnect these lights, plug into my new camera, and then from then on out, it's just running this cable through the car, which, fingers crossed, should be much easier. Seem to have lost a couple of my pegs, or maybe there weren't pegs there to begin with. Oh, no, these ones stayed in here. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah, these pegs were supposed to pop off. Apparently I slid some of them off. Okay, I think I should pry those off. Jesus. Oh, that cracked. Okay. Okay, well I wrecked 2 of them. Am I doing something wrong? Oh, I need to get under the rubber. Okay. Okay, so the mistake I made popping those pegs off. So I was popping these pegs off, and the mistake I made was I put my little tool underneath this little white rim here. When you do that, you just crack the whole thing off. Instead, I should have been jamming into the little rubber here and popping that off. So I cracked a couple of these. They might still hold without it. We'll see. We'll just put them on the bottom. Okay, the pegs I cracked don't seem to be a disaster. I just put them in the middle here. They're not holding super well, but should be, you know, well enough for their purpose. If they rotate, they can pop out a little bit, but we'll give that a go. If they pop out, I'll run around and we can replace them. As far as I can tell, these things just pop in and you just turn them. Because that's how I got them out. Simple enough. And then I believe these pegs, you just jam them in there. There you go. You can barely even tell an amateur just tore this thing off. And our camera is looking pretty good. It's maybe at a slight angle. It's one of those things that the tape's not holding it perfectly, but should be good enough for at least backing up. But if not, again, I can just pop this off and actually put it in a more solid way to hold it. So just like that, we've got our camera running through to here. To make sure it's working as it is and like the right side up and all that, before we go any further, I'm gonna plug this into the head unit and take a look at it. So when you're fumbling through projects without knowing what you're doing the way I do, it's a good idea to test things as you go, so that way you don't get too invested in something that's actually gonna, you know, cause problems further down the line. So in this case, let's make sure this camera actually works before I run a bunch of wiring somewhere. Hey, that looks like a camera. It looks like a camera that is reasonably level, right? Yeah, it's right side up, so you know that's good. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Is it refreshing? Oh yeah. So when I tried the factory camera with this head unit, if you look at my last video on this, I had a lot of problems with the refresh rate on it, or it was just, there's a lot of artifacts. And I was hoping that this would address that, and indeed it did. So that's a pretty nice backup camera. I don't think I need a separate backup camera beyond this sort of more fisheye one. Like, that actually gives me a pretty good view. So, first part of this install, I'm going to call 100% a success. So currently, I just have the cable sticking out of the back of the door like that, and then just running along the floor here up to my head unit. Obviously, that's not our long-term solution. So I think the next thing we're going to try to do is run that cable up through the trim here, interior, following the existing cable that runs along the side there, and see how far that can get me. Okay, so I may have spoken a little too soon. I just wanted to back up and take this thing for a little drive to, you know, make sure it was actually working properly. I noticed something that I'm seeing this backwards. So I want to swap this camera, because this is showing up on the right side here, but that's actually on my left side. So I am hoping there is a setting somewhere to swap that. And actually, I think I saw that, not in here. I think that actually might be in the It's in the reverse camera settings, I think. Okay, I could do it for the reversing screen, but I don't know if that's going to apply to the 360 app, because that's kind of a separate app. I don't think I'm using, yeah, I'm not using the factory reversing screen anymore, so there's got to be something in here that lets me do that. Ooh, this feels like something. Trigger when turn, trigger when double flash, I don't, well, that's neat. I assume that's supposed to, okay, we're getting distracted now, but I assume that's supposed to, okay, it's not working, but trigger the camera when that happens. We'll put that there. Trigger pip if not in reverse, no. Hide track if not in reverse. I'm not seeing the track at all right now, which I don't honestly care that much about the track, but I might look at that later. Speed off. Rear camera mirror, what does that mean? Oh, yes, mirror, it's in flip. Sure, okay, there we go. All right, we are good to go. So there we go. Now it is in fact reflecting what the actual world shows. So I'm going to take this for a little drive just to make sure it's secure, but I'm feeling pretty good about where it's at. So yesterday I said some absolutely wild things about how my life would be so much easier once I just got this wire through the door. I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be super easy to just run this the rest of the way up to the stereo up there. Yeah, so turns out, first off, right back here, there's another section where I'm going to have to tear off some tape to be able to fit the wire through where the existing wire is. And then I need to figure out how to get the wire through this thing. And then from there, it comes back into the frame here. And eventually, I think it's coming out up there. So pull this panel off a bit. And I don't see exactly how the wire is getting from here to down here. I'm assuming it's happening somewhere behind the frame where I can't see. So I pulled off this panel down here at least, and was able to cram my hand up here, and I can find where I get into this little rubber hose thing here. So I was able to pop this side off to kind of get access to it. This side though, to pop it off, I think I'm going to take off the tail light here. Okay, so with that in mind, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to try just seeing if I can feed some fish tape through here after I cut this bit of tape off here. So basically I'm going to feed the fish tape through here. Hopefully I can get it up to here and out this side. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to actually just stab it through here, if there's, similar pieces of tape I'll have to tear off. In which case I think I'll have to take this tail light off, which I'm going to try to avoid. So first idea is going to be to attempt to do this with fish tape. And let's see what happens. So I cut the tape that was wrapped around this little rubber thing here. I'm a little more optimistic about being able to fit something through here because there actually is a little bit of slack on this piece of rubber. So I'm going to try to feed the fish tape through there, and again, try to just wind it around this whole thing. Okay, the little ridges in this hose are killing me because I can't feed the tape through. So I'm trying to bend the hose so the section I'm pushing through at any point in time is straight to avoid catching those ridges. Pretty far, I'm up to here. All right, took some pushing. The little ridges on here made it a lot more difficult because my fish tape, I think, kept getting caught on those. But anyway, I got it through. So I now have a thing that I just need to attach this to. I'll be honest, I was pulling it pretty hard through there, so I'm actually probably going to just wrap this thing pretty hard with tape to try and keep it attached. Like, I don't think any sort of just like clipping it to it's gonna, gonna work as I'm kind of manhandling it through that. And I would hate to lose this thing halfway through. So we're just gonna wrap the crap out of this thing with tape and then try pulling it back through and hope for the best. So I successfully fished this through.
Excellent.
But it's a very tight fit, and so, you're supposed to just like, clip a thing to this. I mean, this is designed for like running stuff through conduit where it's a lot looser. But But this is a very tight, you know, squeeze, and so my plan is to just wrap the crap out of this in tape. Oop. And then hope that I don't lose it like halfway through. Oh yeah, that ain't going anywhere. And that means it'll work. All right, let's see if this happens. Because getting it through was hard because I kept getting caught on the ridges there.
Mm-hmm. Now where does it need to go?
So it's coming up through here. Did it go up at all?
It's going, yeah.
Yeah, the issue is I probably will want to like adjust the angle by hand when it gets higher up because it has to kind of up and then down into that. Oh, maybe not. Something's pulling.
It's going.
Yeah, the question is it caught on the entrance? I want to make sure I'm not just like, because in here there's plenty of room. The entrances are kind of wrapped with rubber like that, and so it's a little tighter. No, I think it went in. Here. Question is, where am I caught? And hopefully I'm not like mangling the cable doing this. I felt like it went in. I think I'm up to here. So I'm getting caught there. Okay, maybe I should go back open.
Straighten it.
Yeah, that actually helped feeding it in. Sure. Ooh, yeah. There we go.
Ooh.
Oh, look at that. That's why I need an assistant. Okay, I want to be careful though. I don't want to like damage the cord pulling it.
Yeah.
This actually might be enough. Yeah. We'll just run it along there. Success.
All right. Well, you have fun with that.
Yeah. Thank you for your assistance. All right. Required a little pushing and pulling, but we got it through. My cord reaches. I think I'm going to come back in and probably attach it to the rest of this cable bundle with some zip ties. But for now, we're just going to plug those two together. And then we got to start figuring out the next step. So right now, the cord is coming out this panel right here. In an ideal world, I'd have it coming out here with the rest of this bundle. But as I said, was having a hard time finding where the connection from this piece of frame to here is. This is mostly solid around here. I'm guessing there's a hole somewhere. But quite frankly, what I might do just to make my life easier, and this will all be covered eventually anyways, just run it up this bit of frame here, out this opening, and then up there. And so it's going to run along here, which honestly I have zero concerns about. So we'll do that. And then this next bit of run is the part that should be pretty easy because this is all exposed right now. And up until I get to that piece of foam up there. And that's when this gets tricky again. We're going to pull down that foam and probably some pieces of paneling and possibly my old headliner up there to get this thing down to the radio itself. But that's a problem for future me, so we'll deal with that when we get to it. As the consummate professional that I am, I did not have the camera recording during this last bit, but it wasn't too exciting. I just used some zip ties to attach the wire for my camera to the existing wiring harness. I put the vapor barrier back up. I just stuck it back on with the adhesive that was already there. And then I popped the panel back on, which was just a matter of sticking it on and pushing on all of the places where there are little pegs to hold into place. And I then, more importantly, before I did that, I did tests to make sure the backup camera was working, and it was a second ago. Uh-oh, let's go look. Oh, I unplugged it. Yes. I did test to make sure that the backup camera was working before I put everything back together. Yeah, before I go much deeper, I wanted to make sure things were actually doing what they were supposed to be doing. So, yeah, so it all seems to be working. Door work is done. We are going to, though, unplug this. Turn the car off. Because now, we're just going to run this cable along the top here. I actually suspect I don't have enough cable, and I'm going to have to stop and buy an extension. But we will see how far we get.
That's kind of nice. I don't need zip ties. These things up here have a little clip above them that I can just run the wire through. It'd be kind of nice to wrap this thing in the original like cloth bundle here, but that feels like a significant amount of work. And quite frankly, once I start finishing the sides of this is all going to get covered anyway, so.
So as I suspected, I don't have nearly enough cable. Like this is gonna reach barely up to here. And so from there, I'm still gonna need to, from here, I'm still gonna need to run it all along here, down to there. Something's probably gonna happen up here, and eventually it gets over here. So I'm gonna order some extension cable. I'll measure out how much I need. For now, I'm just gonna leave the cable dangling from there and still plug it in so I can at least still use the rest of the unit while I wait for that cable to get here. So I think we'll end this video here. I'll wait for the extension cable to show up, and then we'll do the rest of what we need to do up here to get the cable run down. We'll do that as a separate video if it's interesting enough. That's a wrap on this. It's a little early for me to make a judgment call on the 360 camera stuff in general, but first off, the backup camera at least does solve the problem I was having with my factory backup camera, so check. But so far, I only have 90 of my 360 degrees installed. So next up, we're gonna add another 2 cameras to that mix. We're going to do the cameras that install on the bottom of the side mirrors. I'm looking forward to that because that's going to be the first time I actually take a drill to this car. So if you're interested in seeing that, keep an eye out for that video. Should be coming out soon. In fact, I'm going to start doing that work right now. So as always, I have no idea what I'm doing, so copy what I did here at your own risk. But thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of this.